This is my accommodation last night. So you have this outside seating area, and this was the bathroom and the toilet. And then there's another bedroom in here. And then this is where I slept last night. And the thing to notice is there's no heating. Okay, so it was cold, but there was lots and lots of blankets. So quite heavy blankets. And this is the kitchen and the sitting room. So all this is included. And this is the breakfast that I got. So I'm by myself for breakfast. There's bread, cheese, egg, olives, some sort of paste, some deep fried, some chippies and some tomatoes, and some tea. So the accommodation and the breakfast was 15 euros or 300 lira. Okay, so gives you an idea. Okay, I'm about a kilometre into today's walk, which is very short. It's only like 12 kilometres because the next section's 20 kilometres and it's, I don't want to do a 32 kilometre day. I got up this morning, it's after 9 now, but the frost is still on the ground and definitely the temperature is cold. Like I'm wearing a jacket. I just come up from an very steep uphill section and I still need the jacket. It's cold. And I'm really thinking about taking my backpack off and getting gloves out because my fingers hurt, I tell you. So anyway, there's no views to speak of. We're just walking through the bush and it's cold. I thought I'd show you some of the other way markers. If you're on a fairly main road, like this one's sealed, I just walked on it for about a couple hundred meters. You know, you'll find these sort of way markers. So that's where I'm heading to today, the 13 kilometre one. And it's saying that I'm 1 kilometre away from where I've come from. So they're quite useful and they tell you where the path is because it's not very obvious that the path is up there. You know, I know it kind of does when I sort of point it out, but when you're walking along, there's quite a few places that look identical to that. And I have, like this morning already, I walked past this where it turned off the road. And it was only after about 250 meters, I realized, oh, I've missed it and I've got to go back. So it's almost 12 o'clock and I come from the tropics in Queensland in Australia. So does the Kraken. So I'm amazed, but like, obviously all you guys from Europe and America aren't. But look, there's frost on the ground at 12 o'clock. You know, like 12 o'clock, there's frost. Like, I love the noise it makes as you're walking on it. It's like really crisp. And it's funny because up on the top of the hill it's quite warm. And then you come down, you can feel the cold embrace you and surround you and envelop you around the frosty bits. It's quite interesting. It's a beautiful view. I'm sure it's not going to come through very well on this. But we're up, got some height, got some coolness, but the view is just opened up. Like the Mediterranean Sea just goes on forever. The contrast between the shade and the sun, the shadows casting a deep relief, the islands, and the distance in which we've come. Well, the views just keep on getting better as we go higher. So yesterday we walked over that hill over there, the top of that hill, so we're not quite as high as we were yesterday. We walked from those hills over there, so we walked around those hills a few days ago, and we walked around that peninsula 2 days ago, and now we're up quite high. It's a lot cooler, but look how the view just opens up. In a few days we'll be down there as far as you can see, and it's just beautiful. And you can't hear a thing. You can't hear a single thing, not even any birds. And the road's still going up. I'm working on a bit of a forestry road, and I think it's going to go up on top of that mountain just in front of us, so just a little bit further up. It's almost like art looking at some of these trees, especially when you look at the surroundings that they're in. So you got that beautiful view. It's overlooking. And then you have the water source over here. So you go past these, they're wells. So, you know, there's usually a metal bucket and you just take the lid off and throw the bucket down and fill your water back up. So, and you can see the blazing right next to it. So we're on the right path. And there's a nice little fire pit over there. So this would be a lovely place to camp. I think really, I don't have really good camping gear. Like I don't have a tent. So if I came to camp, I'd have to cowboy camp. And it is cold. But I think the way to do this really is to camp. So come in autumn or spring and then camp, because some of the campsites are just like the best views you're ever going to get. You know, I don't care about 5-star resorts or anything like that. And they're well founded. They usually have water sources. They usually have beautiful views. They're a little bit sheltered. And they're just glorious. So I would firmly encourage people to camp. And then you would also lose the stress of having to find accommodation. I just came down off that hill. It's an easy path. It was kind of all right. And you're greeted with this view, which is, you know, spectacular. It's lovely. And then we're going up to this mountain over here, so, or hill. Keeping most of the altitude by the looks of it, so it should be really easy. But that view is spectacular. Looks like a fantastic cruising ground. I'm just walking. I don't know exactly where I am, but you know, there's some really ancient fields here. You can see where the stone walls are sort of used to be. Some are still standing, but some are definitely, you know, eroded down to nothing. But you get these areas where, you know, there's little buildings, and you wonder how long they've been there for. And they're rubbly stones, but also cut stone as well. So it's like, you know, they're the remains of some sort of vibrant community that used to be here. It's interesting. Here's a good example just down here. You can see the walls. Looks like it used to be a walkway. And, you know, you can see like this cut stone here. And then you have like these little huts, you know, that are just sort of scattered here, like shepherd's huts now. But you can sort of see the cut stones there embedded in the wall. And it's very interesting. There's a lot of this. Again, you know, this is where I need my nephew to come and explain it all to me, because I've just got a very rudimentary idea of what's going on. But, you know, even the rubble that you sort of see lying around, you know, you can see cut stones just sort of by themselves, just sort of hanging around. Anyway, interesting. Not doing a good job of explaining it, but it is very cool. If you keep your eyes out, you notice things like you can see that square cut, which would be a tomb, just on the other side of the road. And then if you come over the other side of the road, it's just a field. But it's pretty obvious in the middle of the field, there's some sort of, you know, cut stone, like some sort of temple looking thing. I mean, you're never going to run out of stone here, that's true. But that's definitely a wall, you know, just there. A wall going back that way, very massive wall. I know the sun's there, I'm sorry. And if you keep walking over here, there's a cave going in there, like a built cave, which I'm not going to go into, but you can see it. And then if you go over here, you can see the top of a tomb, just sort of, or maybe not the top of the tomb, but you can see a tomb being carved over there, and they've given up halfway through. I'm on a bus because I couldn't find any accommodation, and I hitched a lift with these walkers from England. Well, I'm standing on the rocks of the breakwater at Kaş, right next to the lighthouse. You can see just there's thing in my past life I would have called it a target, but we can say it's a Turkish warship. Okay, just to be nice. But submariners would call that a target. And Kaz is embraced by the limestone cliffs behind it. So it's completely surrounded by them, and sort of cups them in the hand. Kaz is definitely a tourist town, but it's a good place to resupply because there's a lot of shopping centres. One of the things that I'm amazed about is how clear and the clarity of the water. So you can see down like 20, 30 feet, just like crystal. And even though there's a lot of tour boats here, there's also some fishing boats as well. So it's still a bit of a working port as far as fishing is concerned. So yesterday I couldn't find any accommodation, so I hitched a lift on a tour bus coming back to Kaz. Today I'm having a day off and just having a bit of a rest. I'm going to see if I can get a lift back to where I broke the trail. And so that means I'll be back in Kaz in a day or two. So we'll see. Hopefully there's a bus that goes back to where I broke the trail. If not, I'm missing 22 kilometers of walking. So it's not a big deal. But it was very annoying. When I got to the town, there was only about 12 houses. All of them looked like they would accept guests, but nobody, I couldn't find anybody to accept me in. And also when the tour bus driver tried to find me somewhere as well, as he couldn't find anywhere as well. So I came to Kaz. I didn't want to sleep out. It was really cold. Down here I'm in shorts now, but up on the mountain, which is just, you know, I'm just over the back of that hill. It was cold. Like it was cold at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm just outside of Kaz, so I'm about 300-400 meters outside of it, and I've just walked down to this Roman amphitheatre, which has got the most spectacular view. You can imagine watching somebody down there on the stage, but the actual view is also part of the performance. Like, how glorious is that? You know, just spectacular. And I don't know how much this would seat. It would seat a couple of thousand, I suppose, back in the day. And it's in very good condition. I mean, they've obviously rebuilt that wall over there and that one over there, but all the side walls are original, and all the actual seats seem original too. I'll just take you over and show you how close we are to Kaz. And as you're walking up here, you go past some Roman ruins as well, just on the side of the road. Again, this is just open to the public. You can just walk up here. Same with the Roman ruins. So it's really quite spectacular, and definitely something you should look at if you come here. I wonder if they do performances, because it would be... So down there is where I was talking to you before, on that groin, and that's the marina. So it's really quite spectacular. And I wish the Kraken was here to tell me its failings, because at the moment I'm struggling to see what they are. Views in every direction. Even if you turn around, you have the mountains behind you, which loom over you and, you know, create a sort of foreboding aura.
It's New Year's Eve, and the Kraken, myself, and the Fat Man want to thank you so much for joining us through the year. It's been great sharing our adventures with you, and we look forward to connecting and having more fun in 2023.